There's nothing left. It's empty. But man, she left a mess behind.
This is where it happened. The law office of Lori Devney. The Portland lawyer was indicted earlier this year on state and federal charges. A state bar investigation found, over the past decade, she stole millions of dollars from her clients, many of whom suffered traumatic brain injuries.
I'm really not trying to do the victim thing, but like, I couldn't think. I couldn't cross the street by myself. I couldn't do anything by myself. And she saw it as an opportunity.
Max Martin was referred to Lori Devney in 2014 after being hit by a drunk driver while crossing the street in a crosswalk in southeast Portland. If you look closely in this surveillance video, you can see Max's body hurled through the air.
Do you remember anything about the accident?
No. Like the actual accident, no, not at all.
Max suffered a traumatic head injury in the crash and sought the advice of Devney, a well-respected personal injury lawyer, to help recover his losses.
She was really aggressive. Like, from day one, she was really aggressive.
Did you feel good about her?
No, I knew there was something fishy from day one. I was just treated kind of like I was the crazy one with a head injury who was overly paranoid. But I knew this. It was going on for a long time.
Max says Devney kept him in the dark for months, suggesting his case was moving forward when in fact, it had already settled. An insurance company representing the drunk driver agreed to pay $150,000.
She settled approximately 3 months after my case. I had no idea.
So your case had settled, but she's suggesting that it hadn't?
Yeah. No, she was straight telling me that it hadn't settled.
So she was lying to you?
Yeah.
Max says he only got a small portion of that payout, roughly $9,000, while Devney kept the rest.
It was an open shut case. It was quick money for her, is the way I see it. She saw an opportunity to take advantage, and that's what she did.
Other clients tell similar stories of a lawyer who strung them along after embezzling their money. The state bar estimates Devney stole roughly $2.6 million from at least 43 of her clients over the past decade. So where'd the money go? Federal and state investigators believe Devney spent lavishly, embezzling money from her clients to pay for big game hunting trips, high-stakes poker games, and a home remodel.
With Lori, it drives me nuts seeing somebody make that much money when I'm like working 2 jobs, 16-hour days almost every day, raising 3 kids. And it's like, she gets to go run off to Africa and like travel the world, by taking advantage of people. When I'm like literally her Uber driver, It drives me nuts.
Hey, Kyle.
Hey, John.
What do you got?
So we spoke with one of Lori Devney's former clients, and he's in a tough spot. I mean, the guy's out thousands and thousands of dollars.
How much money are we talking about?
So, he was expecting a settlement of about $150,000. She paid him about $9,000. Here's the thing, he's not alone. I mean, there's all kinds of victims out, thousands of dollars in this case.
So what recourse do they have then? Can they do anything now to finally see some of that money?
Right, I mean, that's my question. Can they recover any of this money? After talking with several lawyers, it seems like there are at least 3 options for Devney's former clients to try and get their money back. First, the Client Security Fund. In Oregon, the state bar offers up to $50,000 to reimburse clients because of dishonesty. Already in the Devney case, more than 40 people, including Max, have filed claims. And while $50,000 may sound great, remember, Max's case settled for $150,000. It barely covers his losses. In many other states, clients who had a dishonest lawyer get more money. Nationwide, the average cap is $88,000 on client security funds, compared to $50,000 in Oregon. The Oregon State Bar says it's considering upping the payout. Another option is going after Devney's malpractice insurance, but nobody's holding their breath on that, and it too only pays out so much.
Malpractice insurance covers lawyers for mistakes. Malpractice insurance does not cover people for fraud or stealing or intentional harm. So insurance doesn't do anybody any good if your claim is my lawyer stole my money.
And then there's the third option, a civil lawsuit against Devney.
So can these former clients sue?
It depends. There's a lot of impediments. If she stole their money more than 10 years ago, no. There's a hard time deadline. If they discovered it within the last 2 years, they probably can sue. But then the next question is, so what? Will they ever be able to collect on it?
Several people have already sued and won because Devney didn't respond. The challenge is getting her to answer to find out if she'll pay.
Hello, Ms. Devney. My name is Kyle Aboshi. I'm a reporter with KGW Channel 8. If you can call me back, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye. She didn't answer.
Her former clients can try and go after Devney's assets, if she has any. And that's the question. Her home is in foreclosure, but there may be other money. Devney's got a Cadillac in the driveway. We saw yard service and specialized food being delivered to her home. Somebody's paying for all this.
I have no comment.
Hi, Lori. I'm Kyle Aboshi with Channel 8.
No comment.
Can we ask you a little bit about some of the money
No,
owed
and
to
you
your
can
former
get
clients?
off my property right now.
Lori Devney can't practice law anymore. She had to surrender her license. Her clients believe they were cheated by a bad lawyer and shortchanged by a system that can't make things right.
What would you like to see, if anything?
Maybe this will bring awareness to the public about, like, you have to be on top of everybody. Your lawyers, your bankers, everybody. You have to, I don't know. It's just, out of this, I don't trust anybody at all. I just don't want to see something like this happen to somebody else, you know, and like them be able to get away with it. And of course, I would love to see Lori in prison for the rest of her life.
Hi, my name is Kylie, and I've written down a few things I'd like to get on video. It sucks to see my mom trying so hard to save my life again. She's already...
So I've been following the story involving a young cancer patient named Kylie Dixon. Police took her into protective custody because her mom refused a doctor's order. The doctors wanted more chemotherapy and surgery for the 13-year-old, but the mom said no, opting instead for natural remedies.
I couldn't even walk, talk, or breathe on my own. So that next treatment would have killed me. But my mom said no.
Supporters call this medical kidnapping. It's a term that's become common in communities skeptical of traditional medicine when the state takes drastic measures to provide medical care they see as essential. Similar cases have played out around the country,
Medical custody battle
with parents fighting for medical freedom. And we've even seen it, to some extent, with anti-vaccination groups and a faith-healing church, where parents reject modern medicine because of religion.
Which raised some interesting questions. What rights do parents have when it comes to medical decision-making? And at what point should the state step in? First, I want to learn more about Kylie Dixon's case. She was taken into protective custody in June after police found Kylie and her mother at a hotel and casino in Las Vegas.
I have no idea where she's at.
Her mother, Christina, who's been communicating through social media, says she's under investigation on suspicion of child neglect, and she fears for her safety.
Hey, it's Kyle Aboshi with KGW.
A source helps us connect.
We're really anxious to talk to her, so thanks for helping to set this up.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, good.
Bye.
Bye.
We agree to meet in a public setting, a park. Christina says she's doing what any mother would do, protecting her child.
The only reason why I'm in this position is because I stood
up for my daughter's life when she was on her last breath.
Christina took her daughter Kylie to the emergency room in February 2018. Doctors determined she had a mass inside her liver. Christina agonized as her daughter went through chemotherapy and other procedures.
I don't know. The best way I can describe it, it felt like my kid was on death row every single time, and you sit there and you watch those bags go in, and you literally feel your kid's life getting taken away.
Sorry.
After 6 months of treatment at OHSU, Christina felt Kylie had enough. She refused additional chemo and surgery to remove the tumor and sought alternative treatments of vitamins, herbs, and pure CBD oil. And Christina says it worked.
My daughter's cancer has not spread, and no, she hasn't had chemotherapy or any other treatments for the last 11 months, and she is thriving, surviving, and doing better than ever.
The Department of Human Services couldn't provide details about why it intervened. But in court records, the state argued Kylie Dixon is in danger because her mother withdrew from treatment against medical advice. The state claimed CBD oil alone is not a medically recognized way to fight cancer. And without further treatment, this child will die of the disease. In legal terms, the state claims the mother has neglected child's medical needs, which creates a risk of harm to the child.
Because I was neglecting to take care of her.
Were you neglecting to take care of her?
Absolutely not. I was doing the exact opposite.
Christina has hired a lawyer in hopes of getting her daughter back.
I'm literally getting punished for saving my daughter's life, and I can't find the frickin' crime in that part of it whatsoever. I just can't.
Hey, Kyle.
John. Hey, so we talked to this mom, Christina, and she's got a really, I mean, it's an interesting story. It's not like she's sitting back watching her child die. I mean, she says she just doesn't agree with the doctors, so she's seeking alternative treatment.
Right. She recognizes her daughter needs some type of intervention. She just disagrees that, like, traditional medicine is the path she should take.
Right. So the question now is, you know, where do we go from here?
Yeah, if we were to look at where does the legal authority from the state come from?
The law generally sides with parents on medical issues, but the state can step in if a child is in imminent serious danger, the standard for medical neglect.
I always find it interesting that everybody's like, I have an absolute right. It's like, no, you don't. Not at all.
This case is interesting because the mother says, we're not seeking traditional medicine, instead we want holistic medicine.
Yes, right.
Does that change anything?
Oh, yes. And so the cases where they say the state can step in, the state has to prove that what they want will in fact help the child, right? And doesn't carry a significant risk for the child. The question that will probably be debated is the nature of the alternative care. So if the mother says, I believe in alternative care, and the alternative care is giving the child a teaspoon of sugar every day, the court will say, no, that's just like no care.
So how are these cases being resolved?
Hi there, Dr. Kaplan. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Let me begin with the basic question. What are parents' rights regarding a child's medical treatment?
So parents have the right, presumably, to control the care of their child, but there are limits.
It doesn't sound like it's a black and white issue.
Not a black and white issue at all. It depends a little bit, for example, on what is the treatment. If you have something proven and established, insulin for diabetes, some sort of antibiotic for meningitis, and a parent is saying no, then they're not going to retain authority.
How about holistic medicine?
So if a child has, let's say, a cancer, And there are established treatments that we know the outcomes for. That is, 60-70% of children are expected to survive a minimum of 5 years. And you say you want to pursue alternative medicine or holistic medicine, doctors can go to court and they will win because the parents are not allowed to sacrifice their child for unusual or, let's call them, outside the mainstream beliefs.
Only surviving, but doing a lot better.
The case of Kylie Dixon highlights the complex tug of war between parents and a child welfare system that can declare neglect for avoiding certain medical treatments. These cases are complicated and often involve drawn-out courtroom battles. Meanwhile, in the middle of it all,
I just don't understand this, and I'm begging you to please help me. Help me have a normal life. This could be your daughter, and all I'm asking is for somebody to help my mom. Thank you so much, and have a blessed day.
I want to tell you about this piece of public art. This is called the Pod.
Portland appreciates art.
So this is called the Pod. It was created by a local artist.
Voters said so by approving the arts tax in 2012.
One more good swing.
By law, almost every Portland resident, rich or poor, must pay $35 a year for the arts tax. It helps fund more art teachers and art programs around the city. But since its inception, the arts tax has become a lightning rod of controversy, triggering lawsuits and complaints. Critics argue the arts tax is unfair, and the city relies on heavy-handed tactics, including using private debt collectors. Which got me wondering, should the city be sending people to collections for falling behind on a $35 payment?
I just think that's completely unfair.
Laurel Greenwood admits she was a bit confused after getting demand letters from a collections agency.
We got 3 collections notices.
The notices from Professional Credit Service didn't explain why she owed or who, and it was an odd amount, $91.66.
I believe my husband said, this is for that art tax that you're supposed to be exempt from.
Laurel said she'd sent the city paperwork months ago explaining she's exempt and she didn't need to pay the arts tax because she's on Social Security for a permanent disability.
It's very confusing. And for us it was too. Why are we getting these letters? We pay, we're exempt. Why are they sending us to collections? We're exempt. It was just very confusing to us.
Laurel is working with the city to try and resolve her situation, but worries about others who were also sent to collections with little or no warning.
It is heavy-handed. It would be scary for some people, I think. It would be worrisome.
The city of Portland started using a private third-party collections agency to recover unpaid arts taxes in 2016. Since then, the city has sent more than 14,000 people to collections. And that's where the debt grows quickly. Remember, the arts tax starts at $35. But if you fail to pay, there's a $35 penalty. It doubles. Then collections adds interest, $5.56, and they tack on $16.10 in collection fees. Suddenly, that $35 arts tax costs $91.66. And the longer you wait to pay, the more debt collectors make.
I mean, it's kind of a dirty secret.
Portland attorney Michael Fuller warns debt collectors that work for government agencies don't fall within the confines of consumer protection laws, opening the door for higher fees and more aggressive tactics.
We regularly represent people who've been abused by collector tactics, and it can just normal things like getting calls in the morning, calls in the evening, getting calls at work, neighbors finding out that you owe the debt, to not being able to finance a car, not being able to finance a home, because a debt that, even though it's paid, it was delinquent at one point and now it's on your credit report for 7 years. So, I mean, it can change your whole life, getting hounded to pay a debt, especially a debt you don't owe.
And in this case, it's over $35.
It seems trivial and punitive to assign a $35 tax that someone can't pay. to a debt collector.
So how does the city defend its practice of outsourcing collections? To find out, I asked Portland's Revenue Division for an on-camera interview. I emailed the director, Thomas Lanham, 3 different times, and every time he flat refused an on-camera interview.
And so they won't budge at all.
Doesn't appear so. But what do we do?
Well, I think we can ask our questions, via email. We also need to make clear, to our viewers that we wanted to be able to ask follow-up questions, and we thought it was important that they answer questions in person from you, but the Bureau wouldn't answer them.
All right, any other thoughts before I drum up this email?
No, good luck.
The city did answer some of our questions in writing, saying in part, outsourcing delinquent arts tax debts allows the city to keep the cost of collections relatively low, and it is effective in increasing compliance. Critics argue by outsourcing its dirty work, the city of Portland is allowing private debt collectors to lean on residents with aggressive tactics, extra fees, and interest. As a result, small unpaid arts taxes
We thought it'd been taken care of.
can easily balloon into hundreds of dollars in debt.
It's very heavy-handed. It's a bit bullying.
No matter where you turn, there's an online review. Customers offering their opinion, good or bad. But can the comments go too far? I wonder, after hearing about an Oregon man who created a Facebook group after a squabble with his home builder. The company didn't like the comments and sued the man, threatening to shut down his Facebook group. The case raises some interesting questions about online reviews. But before we head too far down that road, let's go back to the beginning. We need to speak with the original source of this criticism, the customer, who lives in rural eastern Oregon, just outside of Pendleton.
We've always wanted to purchase our own house, and we finally got that opportunity.
Wes Brooks hired Adair Homes to build a new house in late 2017. And right away, Wes said there were problems with construction and unmet promises.
Is this the dream home you'd anticipated?
This has been a nightmare, not a dream. There's nothing dreamy about this process that we've went through. This company has made everything difficult. You can see this cupboard, they drilled a ton of holes in.
After going back and forth with the home builder for months,
let me pull that up real quick. Yep, this is it.
Wes decided to share his frustration online.
Yeah.
He created a Facebook group called Quality of Adair Homes.
I named it Quality of Adair Homes because I wanted everyone to be able to post in it, including people that had good reviews for Adair.
Including photos of his home and video.
You can see how far off this wall is. There's about a half-inch gap there, half-inch gap down at that end, and it's all the way up the wall.
More than 250 people have since joined the public Facebook group.
We have watched the horror show from day one.
Many sharing their own experience and added comments.
I mean, if a company's not doing what they promised, then the consumer should be able to get on Yelp or Google or Facebook and see that the company's not providing the services that they're promising.
The home builder disagreed with some of the comments posted online. And in March, Adair Homes sued Wes Brooks for more than $500,000 and demanded he delete the Facebook group.
I was shocked. It was the day after I found out that my wife was pregnant.
As a veteran of combat operations in Iraq and a volunteer firefighter, Wes,
right here where the tub spout is,
isn't one to back down.
And then the spout has
He got a lawyer and plans to fight back in court.
Hey there.
Greg, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's good, because we're in the middle of nowhere.
Just don't move. Just don't move.
All right, I'll stay put. Hey, so we spoke with this gentleman who started this Facebook group complaining about construction defects. And he's got a pretty interesting story, but the company doesn't like what he's saying, so they've sued to try and shut down his Facebook group.
So what can companies do? Can companies do that? Are there any laws? Is this a free speech issue at all?
Yeah, it seems like that's a big question here.
It's a tricky area. It's a gray area.
I think we'll head back into town and try and figure this out.
The issues surrounding online reviews and free speech have become increasingly important and contentious as more people post comments. Those reviews can be influential. But before we get into the legal side of things,
I'm a home builder.
Yeah. We need to hear from Adair. You are Vice President of Operations?
That's correct.
So why sue this guy?
Let me start by saying that we absolutely believe in and support the right of customers to have opinions and to express those opinions in any forum. But there's another side to that coin. We have hundreds and hundreds of people over the course of 50 years that have worked to build a company based on integrity and simply doing the right thing. And they have rights too. They have the right to not have untrue statements published about them that they have no way to respond to. There's going to be negative opinion. We believe it's different, though, on a Facebook forum where, again, the author of the Facebook page has total control, can use our trade name, and can delete commentary that might be favorable to us or contrary to the commentary being made by the author on the page. So that's what we think is the difference here.
Well, thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So what does Oregon law say about online comments and free speech? Can people say whatever they want in an online review?
No, they can't quite say whatever they want.
In Oregon, the courts have ruled there's a bright line for deciding whether a statement is defamatory. Opinions, no matter how derogatory, are protected speech. False statements of fact, on the other hand, that can be proven untrue, are not protected.
So if, for example, you say that you were dissatisfied with a product and you say, I felt like they stole from me, that's an opinion, and it's clearly that. If you say the guy or the company changed all the numbers and you say they stole from me, that's a provably true or false fact. And so you can be sued and successfully.
Criticism has long been a fact of life for business owners. But those consumer complaints have become louder because online reviews can reach thousands or potentially millions of people. Can businesses sue if they're not happy with an online review?
Oh, sure. Yeah, everyone has a right to sue, and that's guaranteed by the Oregon Constitution. And a business can claim that they lost their goodwill, their reputation, customers. Sure, they can state a claim. Actually getting to court and proving a claim, well, that's another story.
These aren't easy cases.
They're not easy cases to win. They're not easy cases to win.
The case between Adair Homes and Wes Brooks is still playing out in court, but Adair has already cleared a big legal challenge. A judge ruled Wes's statements on Facebook were not limited to opinion, allowing Adair to move forward with its defamation lawsuit. In an age of online reviews, a single scathing comment can spread quickly, from rural eastern Oregon across the internet. It can damage a company's reputation. The question is it worth the fight? Going after a single critic, knowing a big money lawsuit could draw much more unwanted negative attention.